Our final segment today is about franchising. And for our information, we found a blog at startupsmart.com. You've heard me reference this website many times. I think it's a great one. Actually, I shared with you yesterday a blog from Startup Smart. Starting up smart is better than starting up stupid, I guess. And these folks are from Australia, and whereas a lot of their blogging uh, references business conditions in Australia, which quite honestly I'm not that familiar with, uh, they do present good information about small business in general and starting small business in general. And I found this one yesterday or today about franchises. And it was written by Mark Peskett. And Mark writes, I think Mark might be one of the owners of the website. He has his information published almost every day. He's got a blog there. And he talks about the 5 advantages of becoming a franchisee. Let's see if these are particularly pertinent necessarily to Australia, or if they have meaning, relevance, if you want to buy a franchise in the United States. His opening paragraph says, when you decide to become a business owner, there are a few options you can pursue there are a few options you can choose to pursue that goal. You can start your own business from scratch, which I have always done, or you can buy an existing independent business. That's another choice you can make. Uh, I have done that in my lifetime also. Or you can buy a franchise. I have never bought a franchise. I will never buy a franchise personally. It has nothing to do with the concept of franchising because I believe it's a great concept. It's a proven business model, as we'll see. It's just that personally, I don't think I would make a good franchise owner. Owning a franchise or somebody else told me exactly how I had to do my business. It works for some people. It works extremely well for some people. It would not work well for me. I just don't have the right personality to own a franchise. People have even asked me in my past, in the last 10 years, I've gotten the question many times, why don't I franchise what it is that I'm doing? And I don't see that as a business model myself because um, for the same reasons that I would not make a good franchisee, that what I am doing works for me. The social marketing, technology, social network technology that we've developed in David's Barter community works very well for me, and I'm sharing that with you rather than saying, okay, you have to spend $10,000 and buy a franchise. Uh, it wouldn't work. It absolutely wouldn't work. I'd rather you buy a subscription in the social marketing, social network technology, and then do what you do best with your product, your service. So personally, I would never make a good franchisee. That's not to say that with your personality, you would make one. Franchises, number one, have proven businesses and results. Absolutely. It's a proven business model, and the owner of that business model, the franchisor, has said, I want to expand the model. It's a good model. I want to make more money with it, but I can't do it all myself. I'm going to sell a franchise uh, to person A. Uh, I will give them exclusive rights to operate that business. It's going to be run the same way exactly because I'm going to give them a manual of information, the franchise agreement, and they just need to follow the agreement, doing what I do in my community, in my location, them doing what they do in their location. That's the proven business model. So it's a good investment. Now, having said that, some franchise fees are exorbitant and could actually be done more efficiently. I've seen that happen. The best example I'd like to use of franchise and the success of franchise. One of my mentors, Michael Gerber, uh, he tells the story that he really learned about entrepreneurship and the heart of business by going into a McDonald's. I'm pretty sure he didn't go into that McDonald's to eat. He went into that McDonald's to study the system that Ray Kroc has developed. And the success of McDonald's, bottom line is that when you buy a hamburger in California, it's the same quality of hamburger that you're going to buy in New York. It tastes the same, it looks the same, it's served to you in much the same fashion. Now, there are some franchises that don't operate as well as other ones. We've all seen it. I have a McDonald's franchise. I don't use it much, but the times I have used it in my neighborhood where I live, they just don't have great service. If when corporate people would come into that McDonald's from Northbrook, Illinois, or Oak Park, Illinois, they would say you are not meeting the standards of McDonald's, and that's why you're not doing the volume of business that is being done. I'm sure there's a direct line of correlation between the success of an individual franchise unit and their ability to follow the book, follow the plan. And the better you follow it, the more successful you'll be. And McDonald's is, I guess they probably still are, the largest seller of hamburgers in the world. Other people have tried to copy their style. Some people have been very successful at it. But even today, McDonald's some McDonald's are struggling. McDonald's is not performing as well as a company today that it did 10 years ago. And I really haven't studied why, but I read stories about it. Interesting thing about McDonald's, and then we'll move on. I was in Rome the first 2 weeks in August. And I actually, in Rome, in the city itself, I visited and bought hamburgers at McDonald's, but they were unlike any hamburger that you would buy in the United States. I would put the quality of that hamburger up against any hamburger that I have ever eaten. Well, almost any one I've ever eaten. And McDonald's has allowed that franchisee in Italy, and maybe McDonald's owns those as corporate stores. Maybe they're just testing a better hamburger, a higher quality. And I paid more for it. I think I paid the equivalent of, I think it might have cost €6, which would be about $7.50 in U.S. currency. Close to that, not quite. So, number one, the franchise concept is a proven concept with proven results. The other side of that argument is if you don't meet those results, I'm sure you'll have many heated discussions with the franchisor. Number two, recognition. Starting your own business means you need to decide and develop your brand and create awareness of it in the market. Building and maintaining this takes time. When you buy a franchise, there is a familiarity of that. It might be new to a community where you live, but other people can go and look at the franchise operation in another city. And in fact, when you buy a franchise, before you make that investment, you want to see how that business concept works in other markets. You want to talk to those franchise owners to make sure that they are doing well and make sure that they have a good relationship with the franchisor. And number three, is training and support. Uh, Two things that if you're starting your own business, there's a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resource expended in training and support people. But when you buy a franchise, that training and the guidelines for support are presented to you. You just have to plug in what you're going to do and how your business is going to run based upon the training that you get, based upon the support systems that you get with that franchise. Another reason. Number four, control. Everybody wants control. Franchise, unlike independently owned businesses, franchises are tightly controlled by the franchise agreement. The agreement is the Bible, if you will. That's another reason why I did not want to get into franchising. I did not want to spend thousands of dollars creating a Bible of information that other folks and myself are going to have to live and die by every single day. And I am sure one of the main obstacles on the franchisor part of that franchise agreement is that what that line says in the agreement. What's the interpretation of what that line says? So there's a lot of time spent. To me, it would be inefficient use of my time. Another reason why I personally would not get involved in a franchise. But as far as franchise agreements, they typically define the territory that you can operate in and source your customers from, where they come from, the intellectual property rights and ownership and license to use them during the life of the agreement, operating procedures that you must follow, and standards that you must meet. Purchase of goods and suppliers, you must source them from. You have to buy the goods from a stated source, because that source has an agreement with the franchisor, because the franchisor knows they're going to get the best price, they're going to get the quality of material that they need. So they make a deal and say, you must buy from these people so you will get the same quality and the same pricing that we get, because we have negotiated that with the supplier. That's a really important concept of control. Ongoing expenses such as renewal fees and royalties, marketing contributions, training costs, or refits, that's all spelled out in that franchise agreement, so you know from day one what you're getting into. Ownership of property or lease arrangements entered into, that's going to fluctuate from franchise to franchise. Are you leasing the property? If property is involved, are you leasing it? Who you're leasing it from? All those things are considered in that franchise agreement concept, and you have to abide by whatever that agreement says. So there are restrictions, but you go back to all the positive things. They are restrictions because they work. They have proven that they work. Number 5, exit and selling. It will be spelled out in your agreement exactly how you can exit from the business deal if you want to, and how you can sell it. Do you sell it back to the franchisor? Do you sell it on the open market? All of those things will be spelled out. And well, I guess in summation, the primary reason, these 5 reasons, they all are spelled out initially as you're getting into the business deal, so you know what they are. There's no guesswork, so you can plan, so you can strategize, so you can work towards whatever goal and objective it is that you want to realize with the help and with the guidance of the franchisor. So franchising is a great concept. It's not necessarily for you. Before you invest in a franchise, make sure you have an understanding that you have the personality that you can indeed uh, own a franchise and run it to the expectations of the franchisor. You've heard me say in the past, I've got a friend, I just saw she came online a couple seconds ago, Peggy Stuckey. Maybe she heard I was talking about franchises. Peggy, when I first met Peggy, she was a franchise consultant in that she took an individual who thought they wanted a franchise. She would take them through the process of seeing if they had the right personality. Once that was determined and characteristic traits were established of that individual as an entrepreneur, as a business person, then Peggy could make recommendations on what type of franchise you could buy, should buy, and specifically what you could buy, should buy. That's it for franchising. That's it for today. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'll see you tomorrow live at stickham.com from 10 o'clock until whenever, Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock a.m. to whatever Eastern Standard Time. 24/7 at youtube.com/SmallBizDavid, 24/7 at David's Barter, in David's Barter community, davidsbarter.com. We'll see you tomorrow. Make it a great day for entrepreneurship.